everybody, what is going on? And welcome to my review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise, which has been spanning almost 3 decades now, and a series that a lot of people consider the films get better and better with each one, but let's get stuck into this one. So, of course, we have Tom Cruise returning as Ethan Hunt, the world's most awesome secret agent, and we've pretty much got a whole bunch of people who survived the previous films coming back. So, we got Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby. We've even got Henry Czerny, who was CIA Director Eugene Kittredge from the very first film, who we haven't seen since then. He's back in this one. So the plot is essentially about the villain of... There's kind of 2 villains in this, if you will. One of them is an AI thing known as the Entity, which is almost like Skynet in a way. It's kind of this AI system that's becoming self-aware and is able to take over computer systems and is kind of threatening the world. But we also have a guy named Gabriel, played by Isai Morales, who is after a key that can control this thing. And the key is split into 2 parts that join together, and it's all very cool, like most gadgets in these films are. So, yeah, once again, it's up to Ethan Hunt and the IM force to try and put a stop to him. In the meantime, we've also got this, I think it was a CIA group, sort of this special operations group run by Carrie Elwes's character, whose name escapes me, but there's a couple of guys from that who are constantly after Ethan as well, getting in his way any given time. Oh, and another person worth mentioning in this is Pom Klementif, who was Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. And I say worth mentioning because, oh my god, she is so awesome in this film. And Hayley Atwell as well, who's kind of like one of the main people in it. And, boo, escaped my mind. But anyway, let's get stuck into this. So, going into this, I was aware that these films just keep getting better and better. I know I'm in the minority when I say this, but my personal favorite of the series has always been number 3. There is a long list of reasons. I'm not going to get into them right now, but I adore that film. I do recognize that later ones are better films, but that has just been my favorite. Not only in terms of the things that Tom Cruise does to try and better himself each time in terms of stunts, but, the plots just keep getting better, and the action sequences and just everything just keeps getting bigger and better. This film, man, you kind of don't realize just how big it can get until you see this film. From the opening sequence, which all involves a submarine, which is so goddamn tense, through to the rest of the film, like, everything is just massive in this film. Thankfully, the train sequence that you've seen hints of in the trailer, they didn't show too much in the trailer, because that to me was just... I can't even find the words right now. It is so amazingly fun to watch. And it takes quite a long run time of the film as well. But yeah, just not only that, this film was a lot funnier than the previous ones, and I'm saying that in a really good way. Director Christopher McQuarrie is back. He has done, of course, like the past 3, I believe it was. But he said during the making of Fallout that he tried, because initially the plan was to have a different director for each film, he kind of tried to shake up his style, to make it look like it was by a different director. And I really think he achieved that goal in this film. It had a very different tone for me personally. And again, that's not a bad thing. I think it's great that they managed to make it look like it was made by somebody else. But yeah, it was a funny film. There are some sequences in it that the entire audience was just in hysterics laughing. And it's sometimes the humor comes at points that you don't really expect it to. In the middle of a tense action sequence, something will go spectacularly wrong, and it's just funny. Like, the dialogue in parts is really funny, but the humor lands. It works really, really well. And in terms of the tone, I kind of felt that it juggled two extremes. Like, on one hand, because the stakes are a lot higher, supposedly, I'll get into that, you do kind of get this feeling that the characters are under a lot of pressure, to save the whole world. So it does go into a little bit of a darker kind of territory. And also, I mean, look, we don't know if it is actually going to be the last, pair of films in the series, because Macquarie has gone on to say that he'd be open to continuing it, so who knows. But there is kind of a sense of finality in it. But on the other hand, there is this kind of lightheartedness, but it balances it perfectly. It was just a lot of fun, I mean, that's the thing with this movie. Like, it was a lot of fun to watch. Not kind of like in the completely lighthearted tone of movies like The Flash, but just if you're after a really damn good action film, you cannot get better than this one. As far as the newcomers to this series, Pom Klementieff and Hayley Atwell mostly, they were amazing. The performances in this film are outstanding. Klementieff, she plays a character named Paris, who is just an absolute psycho, but a really capable fighter and stuff. I mean, Pom in real life has a fairly high belt in Taekwondo, I believe it is, and she gets to really utilize her skills in this film. But she's quite menacing as well, and she didn't really sort of have a huge role in the film, but what she did have in it, like, she just gave it everything. Hayley Atwell I thought was amazing. She plays a character named Grace, who is a thief, who kind of, becomes involved in this whole plot, but reluctantly. And I loved that about her character. She wasn't just kind of like, all right, let's get into this. She was like, she wanted to leave. They had to really kind of entice her to try and help save the world. And I thought that was really cool. It just, added a really cool layer to her character. Look, there's not really much more to say. If you are a fan of the franchise, you kind of know what you're in for. Just amazing stunts, amazing, shmish money penny, amazing action sequences, great characters. This film absolutely delivers. The only minor little nitpicks that I have, there is one scene which you've seen in the trailer where Kittredge and Hunt are talking to each other, and it's kind of got that close up, and Tom even does his trademark head thing that he does. That scene, wow, that was one of the most horribly edited scenes I have ever seen in a Hollywood film. To the point where it actually distracted me from the film for a couple of minutes. Not only was it cut too much, it's a two shot of two people talking. They could have just done from this angle, or, kind of keep the camera on that sort of degree. But this time around, the camera went around in all different places. There was one shot of Kittredge where it sort of, was on one side of his face and then just quickly flipped to the other side of his face. And it was like, why did you cut there? That was really horribly edited. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are going to be like, oh man, you're just getting too technical right now. Like, who cares about that sort of thing? But there are people out there who know about this sort of stuff and who will probably find it a bit distracting. But that was just one scene. Who cares, right? But the other thing I did kind of get a sense of was that even though we're told that this AI thing, the entity is this thing that can take down the world and all that sort of stuff, I don't think it was a good idea of just conveying that through dialogue. I think they could have maybe done a few scenes of showing how dangerous this thing can be and why it is such a big threat, because even though, yeah, like I said, we know that our characters are under a lot of pressure to save the world, but for me personally, I didn't really sort of get that sense of urgency. Which, yeah, but who knows, maybe in the second one, it might be, tapped into a lot more because, yeah, I mean, this is the first part of a two-part film, so I might be, rushing to judge that a little bit too quickly. Who knows? But, and for those people out there who are worried about, oh my God, is it going to end on this massive cliffhanger that we have to wait a year for? It's kind of a soft cliffhanger. I mean, if I was going to compare it to anything, I'd say it's more Lord of the Rings than Fast X, because if you haven't seen Fast X, that ended like right in the middle of a big action sequence where everyone's about to die and it's like, oh, come on. Whereas, the Lord of the Rings films, they kind of sort of had more of a conclusion, even though it was a cliffhanger. So, yeah, this is more Lord of the Rings than Fast X. But, yeah, look, overall, go see this film. Honestly, see it on the biggest screen you possibly can. If you have access to an IMAX screen, go do it. I am absolutely going to be owning it on Blu-ray the very day that it comes out. There is no question about that. And I'm going to give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a 9.5 out of 10. So there you go. Yes, it's nearly perfect. If it wasn't for those couple of little things, there would be nothing I could fault this film on. But that being said, yeah, look, that's only some minor stuff. So, yeah, there's plenty to love in this film. So, alrighty. Yes, if you have seen the movie, which you might not have because it doesn't come out till Saturday, but who knows? Come back to me when you have seen it and let me know what you think of it. What was your favorite action sequence in this film? Because Lord knows there are a lot of them. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you think of it. Thank you for stopping by this review. Drop me some comments either here or on Facebook. All the social media links are in the description below because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.